Okay guys, today we are doing an integer review. So you should already be familiar with integers, meaning negative numbers. So this is just a quick recap on some basic operations with integers. First off, some vocabulary. The word integer includes negative and positive whole numbers. So no fractions, no decimals. We're talking about numbers such as -2, -15, 0 is an integer, +4, +300. Those are all integers. So as long as they're whole numbers and positive or negative, it's an integer. And that's what we're going to be working with: adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Okay, so we're going to start with adding. Specifically, adding integers that have the same sign, meaning they're both positive or they're both negative. Both positive you've been doing since probably first grade. A +5 plus a +2 is a +7. And of course, you don't need the positive signs. I'm just using them in this example. If they're both negative, so a -5 plus a -2, then you still add them like normal. 5 plus 2 is 7. You just keep the same sign. So that's all there is to adding integers with the same sign. You add them like normal. You use the same sign. So that's what this says. You might want to pause it and write this down. When you're adding integers with the same sign, add the numbers together like you normally do and keep that sign. Okay, now adding with different signs. So that would be like adding a +5 and a -2. In this case, what you're going to do is you're going to subtract the two numbers. So you're going to find the difference between 5 and 2. Ignore the signs. What's the difference between 5 and 2? Well, it's 3. And since 5 is the bigger number, we're going to use the sign with the bigger number. So it's a positive. My answer is a +3. If we switch the signs, if we do another example of, say, a -5 plus a +2, my difference is still 3. The difference between 5 and 2 is still 3. But since my bigger number, 5, is a negative, my answer is a -3. So you subtract the numbers, use the sign of the bigger number. Okay, it doesn't matter which one's first or second because this is addition, meaning it's commutative. We can switch them around. So if I do, let's say, -4 plus +9. Again, we find the difference between the two numbers, the positive difference, just like we're normally subtracting 9 minus 4. It's the bigger minus the smaller. So the difference between 9 and 4 is 5. Look which one your bigger number is. That 9 is positive, so my answer is positive. Okay, do one more example. Let's say we have a +2 plus a -10. We take the two numbers, we find the difference between 2 and 10. Ignore the signs. What's the difference between 2 and 10? 10 minus 2 is 8. So the difference is 8. My bigger number, again, ignoring the signs, my bigger number is 10, so I'm going to use the sign associated with that as my answer. My answer is -10. I'm sorry. Okay, so when we're adding integers with different sign, here's the rule. Again, you might want to pause it, write this down. To find the difference of two integers that have different signs, you're going to just find the difference of the two numbers, bigger minus smaller. Use the sign of the larger one. And that's your answer. That's all there is to that. So that's adding integers. Next, we're going to do subtracting integers. Now, subtracting integers isn't going to be a whole lot of extra work because we're not actually going to subtract integers. What we're going to use is where we're going to actually change subtraction to addition. So instead of subtracting, we'll change it to addition, and I'll show you how. Let's say we have 3 minus -2. From now on, we're not going to subtract. We're going to change it to addition. You might have heard keep, change, change. What we do is we keep the same. We change the sign or the symbol of the